Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And shalom to the whole four elect. This is Paya Allah. This is a biblical commentary on the book of Judges, the 16th chapter, which reads, Then went Samson to Gaza and saw there an harlot, and went in unto her, and it was told the Gazites, saying, Samson come hither. And they compassed him in and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, In the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city and the two posts. Man, this guy is just so unorthodox, bro. Just so, for lack of a better word, gangster, man. Guy just rolled up in a city, in a town, had his way with a harlot he desired, knocked her down and all that good stuff, beat her HP points away, and then her HP down, should I say, and then they thought they'd catch him in the morning. This guy just woke up midnight and just dipped out and pulled the gates of the city. This is some crazy stuff, but the Bible, bro. This is why I like reading these stories within the Word, because they're just the nuances and the little tidbits within the story. If you really imagine it, it's just like these individuals, our forefathers that have been spoke of, they were just some out there kind of men, man, So anyway, reading on, it says, and Samson lay till, verse 3, and Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city, and the two posts, and went away with them. So he took the gate of the city, along with the two posts, the two pillars that were beside it, as he walked out of the city, and went away with them, bar and all, everything and all, and put them upon his shoulders. So he carried it like, and you see, you never know, this is maybe where they got it from. World's Strongest Man, when they do the farmers carry with the thing they hold on their hoist on their shoulders, and instead of holding the farmers walk with like two dumbbells or two barbells, it's kind of like a thing they carry on their shoulders. So they might have got it from this, just thought about it now. And carry them up to the top of an hill that is before Hebron. So he just kept walking with it up a hill, man. Some guy's crazy, man. Well, like Samson, Oh my Lord. Verse 4. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. All right. Now, it just shows you, this is why it's funny. This story is just so, it's a very, stereotypical Jake, women and just rolling, obviously I'm not talking about like in some nigger shit, but, as men, Israelite men, we like women, man. Right, but this man's just living like a real, real, I don't want to say primitive, but a real straightforward kind of lifestyle. Verse 5. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her. And I mean, back then definitely was more tailored to that. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and said unto her, Entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth. Now, for them to be able to go onto her and basically, say to her, entice him, try and, that means Samson, the way he's moving, as you could tell, him carrying the posts of city, he just don't give a flying fuck, man. He's doing whatever the hell he wants to do, and that's that. So he just like, well, I like these, and he's really dealing with these Philistine women heavy, all right, through the spirit, which, as the apostles spoke about before, I believe it was High Priest Albert. Oh, they said it before, men before me. That really it was the Heavenly Father put the spirit on him because he had a bone to pick with the Philistines, right? That's kind of the same thing with Jake out here. You know, Jake in this kingdom we're in, she saw as the most high top level Edomite, so-called Edomite woman out there. I mean, so-called woman out there. So-called woman out there. All right. And her desire is heavily towards Jake and it's seen. And all women, all right, whether, you know, they ain't really, because we have a shameful, you know, we have a shameful name within the world. A lot of people are not really gonna, you know, do it outright, but deep down inside, they're lusting after Jake, man. I've seen it. I've experienced like very weird, unique, and weird scenarios that I know are really down to you don't feel comfortable about how you feel about me, so you project, you know, negative spewing, man. And it's random. But I know I've had it. It's happened so many times to me that I just realized, I know what's going on, man. Well, women have a certain kind of energy towards you, and it's really because of that. All right, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by that means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. All right, so that was the deal. Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. And Samson said unto her, if they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dried, then shall I be weak and be as of another man. Then the lords of the Philistines brought to her 7 green withs which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the withs as a thread of towel is broken when it toucheth the fire. So his strength was not known. All right. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said, and this is, even thinking about it, I don't know. Hey, man, the Heavenly Father just put the spirit on him. But it's just after a situation like that, he should know better. But I don't know the dynamic. You know, you read it and you just wonder how on earth, obviously it's spirit. But, you know, because things like this happen in this modern day and age. You have people have crazy relationships where, you know, you just wonder the dynamic of their relationship that this kind of thing happened and it wasn't, a line in the sand wasn't drawn. Verse 11, and he said unto her, if they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Now, what does that bring to mind? Where you had the Judites tie him up and bring him before the Philistines, and they used new rope on him. And then when he basically loosed that rope, that the rope got loosed, he slew all of them. I believe it was with the jawbone. All right, because the place was the place of the jawbone. All right, of 1,000 or so men. All right, with a jawbone. But that didn't work. So that's what it should bring to mind. He's lying, man. You know, if you recall the story, Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liars in wait abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his arms like a thread. And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web. And she fastened it with the pin, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awaked out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the beam, and with the web. And she said unto him, How canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death. All right, now multiple things are running through my mind, because really, remember Lot's wife, not remember Lot's wife, but not Lot, but Job's wife. About, I mean, no, not Job's wife, but this is a woman. Plain and simple. Women, when they don't like something, they press upon you, and they don't let it go. All right, so I can imagine that she was just nagging away at him, on him. All right, and urged him, for his soul was vexed unto death. So he got upset because he was pissed. But really, the driving force that made her spur her run to do these things was she was thinking about that bag. She was thinking about that silver. She wanted that money, the readies, all right, the peace. But at the same time, where it also just drew to mind, and I read it as well, was that of the woman, that went to the wicked judge that feared not man nor God, and basically pressed him to avenge her son. And basically, he didn't want to do it, but he said, "Look, man, if this woman keeps on bothering me, she like, it's not gonna stop, man." So he just basically went to avenge her, and it's likened unto how we are to pray unto the Heavenly Father. All right, and to the same effect, her nagging and her pressing him daily led to her getting the answer she wanted, and that really shows, in a wicked way, it's showing the same thing that we do in a righteous way, making supplication unto the Lord in hopes that we get our prayers answered. Verse 17, that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There have not come a razor upon mine head, and I have been a Nazarite unto the Most High from my mother's womb. See, you have a lot of people that don't really, and it really just shows you the Bible and the comprehension. Revelations, the first chapter, where it says, Blessed is he that readeth, all right? Because a lot of people do not, they may read, all right, the words, but they don't the comprehension part of the reading is totally lacking, right? Because Samson said he has his power because he didn't cut his hair. But as we know how the Bible is written, there's probably a English term to it, that speaks to it, but usually it speaks in doubles, as in, like, I'll read it again. There have not come a razor upon my head, and it leads on to what being defining the point, breaking it down. For I have been a Nazarite unto the Most High from my mother's womb. That's the point, all right. The razor is not coming on his head. Why wasn't a razor coming on his head? Because he was a Nazarite. Now, what does it entail becoming a Nazarite? You go to the book of Numbers, the 6th chapter, it basically breaks it down. You ain't to deal with nothing that comes from the vine, whether it be dried, whether it be crushed, or just fruit of the vine. All right, and you ain't to not drink liquor, but well, really, more so, what's the thing I was gonna say? And you're not to cut your hair, all right. And when you break that vow, you're meant to shave, your hair, and all the hair on your body, all right. But he was made to be a Nazarite forever. So that's what that vow is, what gave him strength, as opposed to the hair. The hair was a token, was a signet, all right, was a sign of the vow being kept. Not it wasn't in the they misconstrue it. The power was in the vow, all right. If I be shaken, then my strength will go. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I'll become weak and be like other men, like any other man. And it really shows you, because I was meditating on this earlier, or this morning. I'm doing nights at the moment. I do like split shifts. So I just on the way home, I was really just pondering. I was thinking, who in this book of Judges, like, who else in the Word really had this kind of level of power? Because I'm sure you read about Jephthah and Gideon and these different men. They had, They were what's the word? Not commendable. Co- it's escaping me. They were not contendable. There's a word. Formidable. Formidable opponents. All right, they were formidable. In their strength and everything. But the way Samson's moving, man, this is they. You hadn't seen nothing like it up until. I mean, there's nothing recorded in our nature. Maybe unless it be like Moses, all right. That every time he went out to war, and the stories that are not that we don't really have in to a great degree that break down what they were doing, their acts in that time. But you know, I think the only man that really comes after that is King David, man, and his mighty men that have that kind of God level of strength. All right. Verse 20, and she said, "The Philistines be upon thee, Samson." So like I jumped the gun. All right, or I jumped. What I mean, it's a phrase. Verse 18, and when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, and sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, "Come up this once, for ye have showed me all his heart." Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought money in their hand, and she made him sleep upon her knees. And she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, "The Philistines be upon thee, Samson." And he awoke out of his sleep, and said, "I will go out as at other times before, and shake myself." And he was not, that the Lord Yahweh was departed from him. But the Philistines took him, and put out his eyes, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. All right, now this is quite a deep judgment that happened to him, because when you refer to it, um, I'm gonna have to read it because I lost it. I'll read these two quickly. Proverbs 6:25. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. Yeah, that's what happened to Samson. 1 John 2:16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but it's of this world. And now basically, I'm gonna do a video on this, and I'm probably gonna use all those precepts with this as an example, because it breaks it down so eloquently. All right. But the Philistines took him and put his eyes out. So basically, his lustering after a woman, basically wound up being his downfall, and wound up him losing, becoming, he's blind. Love is blind, as they say. Him being blindly in love led him to being, blind, blind in real life, and blind ultimately. All right. His, the point what I'm getting to, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. All right, so he was making meal. He put him to use. Verse 22, howbeit the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. Yeah, so they weren't persistent with it. They didn't think about, maybe his hair will grow back now. They were like, man, he's done. We plucked out his eyes. He ain't got no hair. He's not the same. It's finished. Verse 23, then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together for to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon their god, and to rejoice, for they said, our God hath delivered Samson our enemy into our hand. And when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, our power hath delivered into our hands our enemy, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, call for Samson, that he may make us sport. And they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport. And they set him between the pillars. And this really just shows you, you niggas out there, all right, you are entertainment, all right. It's just like in the movie Blood and Bone with Michael J. White, where basically you had the Jake that was hoping to be in cahoots up there with the guys. And they're basically like, look, man, you know, we just enjoy it for entertainment. We don't want to be around. And any of you niggas that desire to be up there, man, I don't think you really understand what's going on up there, man. Like, I don't know why you got some issues with you, man. And you Jakes that are really desirous of like that high level or top flight type of shit. Man, I've worked in certain environments. I've been around certain kind of individuals of that upper echelon of life, and it is not something I'm just. I was only there to get the money, in hopes that there'll be more money there. But it's not something that I want to be around. Like it's just, it's like boiled chicken with no seasoning, man. It's just as bland as that sounds. All right. Not even like oven baked, you know, without seasoning. That you could just let the oil, you know, the natural oils within the chicken maybe give it some flavor, or grill it or whatever. I'm talking boiled chicken, man. That is just, yo, nothing there. But it just shows you are of your father the devil, all right. But you're making sport. So this is what they did to Samson. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there, and there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld Samson made while Samson made sport. And Samson called unto the Lord Yahweh and said, O Lord Yahweh, power, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee. Only this once, O power, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my two eyes. And Samson took hold of the two middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of the one with his right hand and the other with his left. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines, and be bowed. And he bowed himself with all his might. And the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtal in the burying place of Manoah his father, and he judged Israel 20 years. So with that, I pray you're edified to the next one. Shalom. Shalom.